Hello everyone. Today in this video I'm going to tell you about interview and its types. First of all, we will see what is an interview. By definition, it means a meeting for obtaining information by questioning a person or persons. It may also be defined as a formal meeting or conversation between employer and job applicant. As we all know that we go for interview in a company and we have to meet someone there. Either it may be a HR professional or maybe higher level person. It may be an employer also. So we have to do meeting with him. So we call it as a formal meeting because we meet for some person. It is also called as conversation because there we have to interact with that person. We have to make conversation with him. So it is also called as conversation. Hence, interview is a formal meeting or conversation between employer and job applicant. Hope you have understand this. Next, we have the types of the interviews. There are many types of the interview which are conducted in many companies in different way. So interviews have been classified according to the structure, according to the purpose, according to interview's content, and according to the interview administrating. We will see each and every type one by one. So let's go for classification according to structure. In this we have structured interview. The structured interview is also known as direct interview. Structured interview means the planned interview. In this type of interview, the questions which are going to be asked by the candidates are pre-planned. The aim of the approach is to ensure that each interview is presented with exactly the same question and in the same order. The questions and acceptable responses are specified in advance. Also called as standardized interview as they are pre-planned to a high degree of accuracy and precision. Next we have semi-structured interview. In this type of interview, we have predefined questions, but in this case, we are not that fixed to the questions. The order of the question can change. We can take away some questions and also we can add some questions. If during the interview we find out that some of the particular topic is very interesting, so we can add some questions from that as well. So, semi-structured interview contains specific topic areas, a general set of questions, but the interviews flows like a conversation and topics are covered as they come up. Next we have unstructured or indirect interview or open-ended interview. Not directed by questions or comments as to what the candidate should be asked. In this type of interview, an informal conversation takes place and the questions are changed to match the specific applicant. No set of format is followed. Candidate is encouraged to express himself on any topic of his interest, his expectations, his background, etc. Interviewers look for traits of character and nature of his aspirations, his strengths, weakness, potential, etc. So, in a nutshell, it yields in-depth informs of the interviewer. Next, we have classification according to the purpose. In this, we have stress interview. The stress interview is rare in the present job scenario. It was a very common interview method when selecting for the sale position. The interview is an attempt to see how the candidate handle themselves under stress. So this type of interview is conducted to check the temperament of the candidate. Some questions and scenario based questions are asked and they will ask you some questions that how will you tackle the situation, and they will see how will you handle the overload, how they deal with multiple projects and how good they are at handling workplace conflicts. So this type of questions will tell them about your temperament. So the trick for the interviewee is to remain calm under such a situation. They will try to increase your temperament, but you have to remain calm. Appraisal or assessment interview. A discussion following a performance appraisal, in which the supervisor and employee discuss the employee's rating and possible remedial actions to be taken. The performance appraisal is the ongoing process of evaluating employee performance. It is a review of employee performance over time. If the performance appraisals are done in a correct manner, they can provide us with a series of valuable results. However, if done incorrectly, the process evaluating employee performance can actually lead to some level of job satisfaction and productivity, lower level of job satisfaction and productivity. Next, we have exit interview. This type of interview is conducted when a person or employee is leaving the company for any reason. It aims at eliciting information about the job or related matters. It helps the employer in having better insight into which right or wrong about the company. Highlights the work of a HR manager. This type of interview must be conducted in a confidential way within the workplace, in a private space. It provides understanding of ways to improve and increase the productivity in position and minimizes the workplace conflicts. Next, we have classification according to administering interview. One-to-one interview, face-to-face interview. This is the oldest and the most common form of the interview. Single interview who takes interview one by one, may be structured, unstructured, or sequential. We have studied structured interview and unstructured interview as well. We will discuss sequential interview in the next slide. This type of interview is easier to handle and generally are more informal kind of interviews, like it's kind of discussion. Best way to handle such interview is to relate them as a form of conversation. Next, we have sequential or serial interview. As from the name sequential, it means in series. Number of interviews are conducted in series. The interviews are those in which the applicant is interviewed sequentially by several persons, that is interviewers. Each one rates the applicant on a standard evaluation form, and these ratings are then compared before hiring decision is taken. So this candidate, the candidate either moves from one location to another or stays in one room, and the interview and while different interviews join them. This can also happen. So you will be getting opportunity to give your first impression, so always be prepared to present yourself. Each interview rate from his or her own point of view, ask different question and form an independent opinion of the candidate. Group interview or group discussion. The main purpose of this interview is to see how the interviewee interact with other and how he or she influences other with his or her own knowledge and reason. The name on just like the name indicate that the interview is being taken in group. A group of 3 to 4 people are interviewing together. This is a time-saving form of interview. Candidate may also be asked to solve a problem together, which allows interviewers to assess candidate skills in action, for example, the teamwork and the communication skills. It is also known as GDs. A topic for discussion is given to a group. As I told, a topic of discussion is given to the group, so they will ask you to discuss on that topic. So while discussion, they will observe your skills. So this type of interview is conducted to quickly pre-screen the candidate. All the companies after aptitude test, they take group discussion, that is they use the pre-screen to evaluate the candidate. Next is panel interview or committee interview. A panel interview comprises more than 2 members interviewing a person for hiring, most commonly at the senior level. The interviewee should try to connect with each interviewer, and the best way to do this is to read personality of each interviewer. Before going to the interview, you will study the personalities of the interviewers that are going to take your interview. So you will read their personality, that will help you to be confident and to interact with their personalities. The panel may consist of different representatives of company such as human resource, management and employees. This is also a time-saving form of interview. There is a collective judgment of panel regarding the candidates, keep in fact decision making for selection of right candidate. In a panel interview, the interviewer tries to gauge the group management and group presentation skills of the interviewee. The interviewer should maintain eye contact with the person asking question, but also seek eye contact with the other members of the panel. Next, we have classification according to the interview's content. We have situational interview. What is situational interview? Here the interview will focus on the individual's ability to project what his behavior will be in a given situation. The interview can be both structured and situational, with predetermined questions requiring the candidate to project what his behavior will be. A situation is given to the interviewee and his behavior is observed. Just remember, they will give you a situation and they will ask your behavior in the future. Job related interview. Here the interviewer tries to deduce what the applicant's on the job performance would be based on his answer about his past behaviors. Job related questions are asked to draw a conclusion about the candidate's ability to handle the job to be filled. Behavioral interview. Here a situation is described and candidates are asked how they behave in the past in such a situation. While situational interview asks candidates to describe how they would react to a situation in future. Remember the difference between the two types of the interview. The situational interview, in situational interview, they will observe your behavior in the future, a situation in the future. While in the behavioral interview, they will give you a situation and they will notice your behavior in the past, from your experience. The behavioral interview seek candidate to describe how did they react to situations in the past. Next, we have psychological interviews. Psychological interviews are conducted by a psychologist, in which questions are intended to assess personal traits such as reliability and dependability, etc. So, psychological interview is a nothing more than a psychological fitness test that is more likely to focus on your personal career goals, ambitions, and family backgrounds. Its purpose is to ensure you that you are the best candidate fit for this position. There are some other types of the interviews, like the telephonic interview. The interview is conducted over the phone, and this is very effective in eliminating any bias that may arise from the appearance of and manner of the candidate. Initial screening is done by the HR department. Screen candidate on the candidate experience, qualifications, salary expectation. So this is telephonic interview. Promotion interview. Interview is done for the employees who are due for the promotion. Annual interview. Before writing annual reports, reporting officer interact with employee subordination. So in this way, an interview is done. Periodical interview. Periodical interview is done with the existing employees from time to time. That may be to ask about their progress or to ask about the current situation of the ongoing project. Problem interview. Problem interview is of an employee whose performance is unsatisfactory, to find out reasons and find solutions to that why his performance is getting unsatisfactory. Computerized interview. Questions are presented in MCQs that are computerized interview. Walk-in interview, there is no specific condition for that, but those who are eligible can come with their valid documents. And the video conferencing, use video technology. Clothing, body language and dialogue are important here as well. Case interview, to solve problems on the spot. So that was all from my side. I hope I have covered all the types of the interview. So thank you. If you have any question, You can comment in the comment section. Have a great day.